Installment Productions. He currently hosts the Agree to Disagree and the Unhappy Hour radio shows and has been a guest on numerous radio programs including Coast to Coast AM, the Lions of Liberty podcast, and the Eccentric Perspective radio show, to name a few. He also runs www.thenewamericanmedia.com, which spans topics such as civil liberties, sports, spiritual enlightenment, and entertainment. Brian can help with event promotion, management, and entertainment consulting. Here is Brian Engelman.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever Solutions Institute Activist Online Training Convention. I'm really happy you guys are here. Whoever you are, you're the groundbreakers, you're the trailblazers, you're the people that are awake at this point. And first off, before I get into things, I do want to thank a few people. I want to thank Dan Johnson for his work with Panda, with his work with the Solutions Institute. It's an idea that's long overdue. All of the people that have helped put this event on, Matt, who's running the technical, especially, it's one of the most important parts right now, and Bobby Rodrigo, who essentially has taken over for me. And that's one of the things that you need. You need a strong team. But I wanted to thank all of these people, especially in the beginning. So I'm here today to issue you guys a dire warning. It's urgent. You're here because you're paying attention. But the dire warning I'm issuing you is not about an encroaching police state. It's not about police abuse, the Tamir Rice case, the Eric Garner case, the John Crawford case, Kelly Thomas. We've seen enough things on tape that should have us freaked out. It's not about that. It's not about encroaching world government. It's not about, FCC rules that are going to try to limit your speech online. And if we can trust the people making those rules. It's not about that. It's not about an erosion of our Second Amendment rights, where they make it so expensive and so difficult that you can't even conceal carry to protect yourself in your own neighborhood like you should. It's not about all these things. It's not about the military-industrial complex. It's not about the fact that Republicans and Democrats are essentially two wings of the same dirty bird. We have other guests that'll probably get into some of those topics. But what I'm going to talk to you, those are the things I talk about on Agree to Disagree on my radio show. What I'm here to talk to you about is a dire warning about getting in over your head as an event planner. Yes, as you heard in the intro, I started off playing in rock bands in high school and then in college. You learn a lot about putting on shows by doing that. And yes, we've had the cops called on us many, many, many occasions. When I was a junior and a senior, we used to play at graduation parties. And we'd just open up a guitar case and drunk family members would throw money in so we could make money. We quickly started selling merchandise, making T-shirts. So we learned a little bit about local regulations and noise ordinances and merchandising and trying to market and brand the product. That's important. When I got to college, I spent a couple of years there, about 2 years, at Bowling Green State University. And I was looking around at all of my friends, some were at Cleveland State, some were at Ohio State, Cincinnati, Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, University of Michigan, all over the general Midwest region. And in talking to them and just checking out what was going on, I kept seeing that concerts were going to these other schools. Kent State, Akron, everybody's getting a concert except Bowling Green State University. First year, you're so busy getting settled in, you don't pay much attention to it. But then, I started getting mad. I started getting upset. I started getting upset that nobody on our campus was doing what, to me, it seemed like a school was supposed to do. And that was put on a show. So, did I sit around and be a keyboard warrior and complaining on message boards? No. All right, granted, the internet is much different now than it was in 99, 2000 when I was attending. However, I got involved. I saw a little ad in the newspaper, and it said about UAO, University Activities Organization event planner, that they're interviewing people to take that position for next year. So I went and I interviewed, and my interview pretty much consisted of chastising them, yelling at them, politely, but taking them to task, saying, come on, you guys have the same operating budget as all these other schools. The other schools have their act together, and they're bringing in cool bands. Why can't we do that? So, cut to the chase, I get on board, and they say, great, we'll bring you in as a concert director next year, which actually surprised me, because I was there to complain. I didn't know how they would take that, but they liked the energy, they liked the fire. So they brought me in for a concert. It was They Might Be Giants and Jimmy Fallon opening, if you can. He's had quite a career since then. But they brought me in to help sell tickets, and it was a train wreck from the beginning. And my point isn't to throw people under the bus, but it's to warn you. They booked this band that was maybe 10 years past their prime. They didn't have a current hit song on the radio. Jimmy Fallon, very few people knew who he was. And there wasn't a market for the show. I'm trying to sell tickets, and nobody knows what I'm selling. So as this went on, it became very clear very quickly that we didn't have enough money. We didn't have enough money to cover the costs, because when you book a band for 40 grand, you can kind of count on doubling that, make it 80. I forget exactly what the number was. If it was 25 or 30, call it 60 or 50. But anyway, what ended up happening was they canceled the show. The 400 people that did buy tickets to our 4,300 person venue, they were pissed. They were not happy at all. So not only did we not sell a lot of tickets, the ones we did sell them to were irate. Then, the band comes after the school and says, you breached the contract, you messed up our tour routing, go to court, people in our administration got fired, and I'm just the student guy looking around going, this is what you get for booking They Might Be Giants 10 years past their prime. You can't spend that much to do this show. So going from my band playing at Battle of the Bands at Peabody's or playing graduation parties, we knew how to be successful at that because it was low stakes, low reward, low risk. But we were doing it. We were okay at it. And then I saw a train wreck right up front. So when I took over as concert director, I inherited a brand new staff. Everybody was shell-shocked. They gave me an operating budget of $9,785. And keep in mind, if you're not familiar with this world, because I wasn't until they sent me to Nashville for NACA, National Association of Campus Activities. It was a concert director training session. So I flew down there, and for a few days I'm listening to everybody from USC, from Florida State, from University of Maine, all over our country. Oh yeah, we had just had Dave Matthews last session. Oh, we brought in Metallica. Oh yeah, it was $200,000. I'm like, okay, well maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why we're not booking bands, because you give me less than 10 grand and say book $100,000 show. So what we ended up doing was surveying our students. That's important. You need to know who your audience is and who they want to see. We did a campus-wide survey. Do you want to see hip-hop? Do you want to see acoustic folk music? Do you want to hear funk? Do you want to hear blues? Do you want to hear art? Whatever. And it turns out 86% of our student body wanted rock. So we booked a rock show. Went to the William Morris Agency, submitted a bid for, I don't know, it was around $55,000. There was a little bit of extra negotiating and haggling. Long story short, to keep it simple, we paid about $50 for the show. It was Moby, right when he released that Play album, and he was up for all these nominations for Best Album of the Year, whatever. And it was Bush as the headliner. And I had just seen them in '99 at Woodstock. And they were the headliner of, I think, day one of Woodstock '99, 600,000 people, good times. So we brought that huge concert into our little arena. But until I was able to ask for budget reallocations, co-sponsorships, and go through a bunch of kicking and screaming, begging and pleading to get more money, I had to raise 50 grand as a 20-year-old taking a full course load of classes. I had to raise that money for Kim Jacobs. Special thanks to Kim Jacobs, by the way. She trusted in me. When her job was on the line. She was brand new. The previous people got fired because they screwed up a concert. Constant and forever kudos to Kim Jacobs for being there for me. But that's when they let me submit the bid, and it was double, what you expected. And there are always things that you can't prepare for. There are MTV shows up with 10, 15 full-size tractor trailers full of gear, And then they threatened to leave and go to the next college on their tour unless we kill a bunch of seats by scooting over the bleachers, because they didn't read the advanced rider that we sent them with the diagram of our venue. They thought it was going to be on one side. Actually, they wanted it on the other side. We didn't have room on the other side, but we did on that side. So in order to kill those seats, they were all attached on mechanical bleachers. So we had to kill the seats all the way down the arena. And on the day of the show, we're working with the fire marshal, trying to find 500 people seats, extra seats in the aisles, making sure that we're not blocking a fire lane. Long story short, the show worked. We made money on merchandise. I think we got a 15 or 20% cut on everything that was sold, and the students could swipe their student cards. So we sold a ton of it, and everybody wanted a shirt and CDs and merch and stickers and whatnot. But that was a good learning experience, because everybody told me, there's no way, Brian, there's no way you can do this. There's no way you can do it. And we could do it, but it was because we had a team. I interviewed John Telich for my sports program. He's with Fox 8 Cleveland, one of the best sportscasters out there. I always talk to them, man, how did you get so many Emmys? 11, 12, 13, I forget where he's at right now. And he always credits his team. And that's why you're watching the Solutions Institute right now. It's because the team is here. The team is involved. The team is rocking it. No one person is going to put on a big event. And I'm here to warn you not to bite off more than you can chew. For that concert, we did a $500 show with an out-of-town band called Seeking Homer. I think they were from Boston. We had a concert committee of maybe 10 people. Did a show, learned lessons. Then we did a bigger show, a 1,000-person show with Acoustic Hookah, kind of a jam band like Fish. Then our concert committee was 30, 45 people, something like that. Then for the concert committee, we had 86 people, all of our student advisors on board, the paid faculty and staff helping us. And we rocked it. It took a huge team. So don't bite off more than you can chew. That is the number one thing that I'm here to talk to you about. It's limit your liability. Limit your liability. Somebody came up to me a couple of years ago and said they were planning an event, and it was across the country. They had to fly a bunch of people in. They were going to do some sort of fundraiser and try to raise money for a charity and then come home. And he wanted me to help with it. So I said, okay, I'll listen and let me help as a consultant. All right. I said, number one, make sure you have your flight there paid for, your flight back paid for, and your hotel paid for. Don't count on raising enough money to generate revenue so that you can cover your expenses and then donate all the rest. Don't do that. You're going to put yourself in a bind. Well, cut to the chase. It was several weeks later of planning, and I gave him as much advice as I could. He didn't listen. These people went there with the money to get there, no money to return. It was a nightmare. It caused so many problems because they didn't have the basic essentials covered. And that's what you need to do. You need to have the basic essentials for your event covered. If there's any overhead, if you have to rent a venue, if you have to pay a security company, if you have to get fees or licensing from your local government ordinance, whatever, to make sure that you can have a party in the park before you even pay the DJ to show up to play a couple of bands, you need to have that stuff covered. So you need a budget, and you need a bigger budget than you think. You need a team. You need a team 3 sizes bigger than you think. Because I learned booking concerts out here in Los Angeles, you can have a few good shows, but you're paying facility fees, you're paying your door girl, you're paying the sound guy, you're paying the facility fee also includes the DJ and the room cleaning. So right off the bat, you're negative. I had a few decent shows, and then I had a bunch of bands that couldn't draw more than 2 or 3 people to their concert. And if they're not paying their cover charge at the door, guess what? You're not going to recoup your expenses. So what I learned doing that was a quick, easy lesson. It's not pay to play. You've heard that before. It was reserve your audience in advance. PayPal me $100. That's 10 people paying $10 at the door. Give me an advance list of names. They'll all be crossed off. You get your money back, but we've gotten your amount to rent your space for my showcase because I am taking on the liability with the venue. You have to think of these things. You have to make sure that any possible expense that you have is covered in advance. And that's why this online activist convention was a no-brainer to assist with. I can't say I ran it. I helped run things in the beginning, and I had to hand it off to Bobby, because that's the other thing you need to know. No matter how many volunteers you have, no matter how many good intentions are thrown your way, no matter No matter how confident you are that you have this under control, you don't. And the people that you need to help you are going to be busy. Someone lost their job, they have to go on a job hunt. Somebody has a baby, somebody breaks their ankle, somebody, you'll hear every excuse and actual reason why they can't do what they wanted to do. You need a backup plan and a backup plan to the backup plan. With the Bush Moby concert, we had an interactive village that came by. And the big thing was, okay, we're rolling this huge thing out, and it's going to be in this field. It's going to be this outdoor experience. It's free. It's the day of the concert. It's great publicity. Fantastic. Where's the rain site? And in Ohio, you obviously need a rain site. California, you should have a rain site. But the point is, what's your backup plan? And then what's your backup to the backup plan? And these are the things you cannot bite off more than you can chew. Because if you do, you're going to end up thousands of miles away from home without a return flight. You're going to end up canceling a concert and having hundreds of angry students writing nonstop letters to the editor to the point where the administration fires you and you lose your job. You're going to end up owing hundreds of dollars out of your pocket when you spent weeks and weeks booking bands to try to make something happen. Now, in the Liberty Movement, your event might be different than a rock concert. I get that. But the basic principles remain. You have to have a strong team. You need the budget in advance to make sure that you can afford what you're trying to put on. You need to be careful. These are really some of the most important lessons that I learned. It's a tricky business. It always has been. It's Murphy's Law. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. I can't even say, it took an entire year to put together that Bush Moby concert. Fundraising, building the concert committee. It takes a lot of time, way more time than you think. And you got to be prepared for anything. You just need to be ready to be adaptable, malleable, just ready to come up with brand new ideas on almost absolutely zero notice.
Fantastic presentation, Brian Engelman. I thank you so much. We have some questions for you, Brian.
Yeah, let them rip, Bobby.
First, from Fija in the chat wing, and please, everybody in the chat wing, if anybody has any questions, please post them in chat wing, and I'll be happy to ask our speakers today. First one is from Fija. What are the specific details that need to be addressed for an event that involves alcohol?
Oh. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's go from personal experience. If you're playing at a backyard party or doing something locally, there were always kegs at the graduation parties. Those liability. Okay, we're high school students. Well, I can say when I did my event at my graduation party, our band played in my backyard. We had a couple hundred people back there. It was really crazy. And we made sure on the flyers to say, if you are underage, do not even attempt to drink beer. It's not being served here. It's not for you. Don't steal the beer. We are not encouraging you to drive home under the influence. We made it crystal clear on every flyer that we sent out. This is not a place where you're showing up at 18 years old to get blasted. That's not what we were doing. Crystal clear. When you book a show or an event at a concert club, it's kind of the opposite. You need your people to drink. You want to tell them use Uber, sidecar, Lyft, taxi, rideshare, walk home. But when you're doing an event at a club, say you go to the Viper Room or you go to House of Blues or you go anywhere that's doing live music, that's why the club owner is putting you there. You're the promoter. Why? They don't care about your event. They don't care about your music. They don't care about your cause or your message. Trust me, they don't. They might also care. They might also be liberty-minded people, but they're there to sell booze. Alcohol at a venue like that, they're about the bottom line. And if you as a promoter, you want to have a liberty event and bring a bunch of people in, have a few speakers, whatever, they're going to let you use their space. They let you use their space so that you fill it with 30 to 300 people that are going to be buying appetizers and buying beers. You got to sell. If you don't, you're not going to get invited back. And then, of course, at the Bush Moby concert, it was on college campus and there was no alcohol. But as far as liability issues, you have got to be on top of things. At Bush Moby, we had a ton of security staff. I think it was Tenable we used. Just tons of security staff, not necessarily alcohol related, but what if there was a mosh pit? What if X, Y, Z? And it turns out Gavin Rossdale jumped off the stage and ran through our entire venue and climbed up to the second deck with his unwired electric guitar, playing the whole time, and people were lunging and screaming, and we had our security team absolutely scrambled because we didn't prepare for it. But you need to be careful. If they're underage kids or the possibility of it, and if there's not a door guy checking IDs and making sure that they're actually doing it, not letting people in, anytime liquor is involved, anytime booze is involved, it's something you do need to be aware of. Absolutely.
All right, next question. How do you reach out to talent and work with them to establish a reasonable deal for the event?
Step one, just do it. I found because I'm the radio host, I'm the producer, I'm the engineer of Agree to Disagree and the Unhappy Hour at the New American Media. I talk about the it's so weird. I talk about the importance of a team, and pretty much for a long time, you're looking at the team of the New American Media. But how do you reach out to talent? The way I do when I'm reaching out to a guest to come on the radio show, you just do it. You send them a direct message on Twitter. You tweet them. You go on their webpage. You look at their contact. You post something on their YouTube channel and say, hi, my name's so, and you're professional. You spell check. You put the periods where you're supposed to. Don't use all caps. Just basic grammar skills. Present yourself professionally. Think I want to get up at 9 in the morning and put on a suit jacket and a tie? No. I'll tell you right off the bat, this isn't me. You'll find me more likely in a Cleveland Cavaliers life jersey than you will in a suit and tie. But you present yourself the way you dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have. Perception is reality. These are all important lessons. And so you just reach out to them professionally and say, hi, my name's so-and-so. I'm putting on an event. I'm curious if you might be interested in blah, blah, blah. You just approach them professionally. If you're talking something with a budget, you got to find out who their manager and their booking agent is, mainly the booking agent, and you contact the booking agent directly. And they're going to say, oh, okay, when are you looking to have a show? Okay, and then you ask, well, how much would it be to bring them in? They're going to finagle because they'd like to double the fee, but you kind of test the waters, and they're going to throw a number out, and they're going to need that number in advance. Give me half of this up front, or else we're not doing the show. So it comes down to a lot of stuff, and reputation, especially with booking agents. If you're an unknown entity, they're going to want more of that money up front, and they're going to walk you through the process to make sure you're actually putting the ads out there to let people know that the event's happening so that they sell the tickets. Because they don't want their artists to show up and have 100 people there. That's not good for them either, even if they fleece you for $50,000. They want the place full. But it comes down to reputation. I did an event I won't say the place, but I did an event and everything went wrong. It was a live music fashion show. The dancers it was a girl's birthday party. She was a go-go dancer at the club, and she was going to bring all of her friends in, and we had everything set up. So then we had a clothing company, then we picked a band, and then everything fell apart. The dancer backed out, her friends flaked out, as you should expect. Then the clothing company backed out, and it was, well, what do I do? Anyway, I put on the show, found as many decent models as I could, found a decent clothing company, got a good band, put on a show. It wasn't the best, but the point was I kept my reputation by not flaking and canceling 2 weeks out, because no club is going to have a chance to fill their club on 2 weeks' notice. But because I didn't flake, I was able to keep booking shows there for a while. So your reputation is everything. Burn somebody once, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation and a second to lose it. Don't screw it up, because that stuff follows you around, and that's integrity. Those are morals, and those are things that you need to be constantly aware of, because whether you're talking about doing events in the liberty movement and you just can't be a flake. That stuff spreads like the measles.
Last question with 30 seconds, please. Following up on the first question, what about event insurance and liability? 30 seconds, please.
Oh, yeah, liability should be considered all the time. You got to make sure that you have security just a little bit. Imagine there's an active shooter at your thing. Do you have somebody there where you can say you went to at least reasonable lengths to protect the audience? Yes, it just depends. If you're doing a huge rock show, that's going to be exponential, but you should have some degree. get a rent-a-cop for a couple hours if you're going to have an event in case somebody shows up and starts making trouble. Absolutely. You always want to consider security in case after the fact someone wants to come to you and claim that you were reckless and endanger the lives of people by putting on an unsafe event. So I hope that answered your question. I hope you guys have a chance to check out our site at thenewamericanmedia.com. I hope you stay involved with the Solutions Institute. It's a great organization, and I appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you, Brian.